And next you go on to saying okay, so we've touched on the exercise routine you like the most. Do you want to say any more on that? The complete six? Or have you already mentioned that
The
one?
complete six that I really worked off of for many, many years is low back leg press, abdominal rotary torso, pull down and dip. That's a core program for me that I would not change for 10, 15 or more years straight. So that's a core program. I would throw in a seventh, that's a six exercise program. I would throw in a seventh and or eighth exercise. I would rotate it through. The exercises I would put in would be something like an abduction, and I would put that in right after the low back. So it'd be low back abduction leg press. Or I would do a row. I love the row. And again, it would never be two pull or two push exercises in a row. So I would always do push, pull, something like that. But row is for posture. And many, many clients needed better posture. Many, if not most, if not all. So, we're all sitting at our desk these days. We're working from a computer. To get the shoulders back is just a big deal. The row is just a great exercise for that. Neck, that was a huge exercise for me. I purchased a MedX neck machine, and I never really used the 4-way neck. Neck extension was my primary exercise. I did a little bit of a stretch at the end of the set, which the clients love. And I teach that. I tend to side deal, and I never get neck flexion. But again, for posture and sitting up straight and working the whole spine from top to bottom. But it was a basic six exercise that I worked off quite a lot.
It's almost like you've got a pretty good franchise concept there, right? We know models that are kind of like either end, but this is like in the middle of them, right? 6 to 8 exercises, 12-minute sessions, covering all the musculature. Like it's really, I really love this. And I think that a lot of listeners who are just getting started, some of them could, because it's a little bit more money, right? They're probably looking more, like 5 to 10,000 to get the 6 to 8, right? If you're going to do it with all these machines. Yeah. But that's viable for a lot. I'm just thinking like if people want to go this route, they could, right?
Sure. Absolutely.
Right. But the minimal startup you've already talked about, this is like level 2 if you've got the budget.
Well, if you're making your financial goals and you're doing the sessions per week that you were after, then this is just the logical next step. You're kicking out a little money to add these machines in. So you're working up to this program.
Oh, he's like upgrading. Right. Yeah. Cool. All right. So where are we at now? We're on to working training order, right? So like starting with lower body, finish with upper body. That was your way.
I always work in this order. The order that I just gave you for my basic 6, which is low back leg press, abdominal rotary torso, pull and a push for upper body. I always worked in this order from low to high. I've only found recently in the last 10 years that there's a lot of trainers that don't work in this order.
That's right. We did. Yeah.
And actually I even got some people criticize me for this, but
really?
Yeah.
Well, tell me more.
That's the wrong order.
And the wrong order, Pete.
Yeah.
Is there scientific evidence to suggest that you have to have the leg press at the end? Is there?
You know what? There are some people that were very, very locked in on that. No, you can't work the legs until the last exercise. I said, well, I got my information from somebody that I think everybody respects, and that'd be Arthur Jones. So that's how I started working in this order. He wanted to get these massive exercises out of the way early. If you're really wiped out, it's probably pretty easy to do a curl, or you can get through that versus you're really wiped out. Now you got to do a 500-pound leg press. That just made sense to me. So this comes from Arthur, period, end of story. This is how he trained Casey and Mike and Boyer and Sergio. They all got this low to high order. You were going to start with the big exercises. Now I put lower back in first because that's kind of like a pet peeve kind of an exercise for me. And remember, I'm addressing clients' needs, not athletes' needs. So that's why I made my tweak. But yeah, low to high comes from Arthur.
Can we just discuss this for a moment? And we're definitely going to have to do 2 podcasts, Pete, because there's so much I want to talk about in terms of our notes. I find this really interesting because someone could correct me on this, but one of the kind of rationale for maybe not having leg press at the very end is that it's the last thing the person remembers or associates with your workout. And if it's the most brutal, most uncomfortable, which that or leg extension or anything that's going to really recruit the quadriceps, usually the most uncomfortable exercise, right? Or one of, that might not be a good thing if they associate that as the last thing they remember of your workout. So I remember some colleagues, and I could be getting some of this wrong because I'm trying to remember, but I think they almost position leg press like you do, like middle of the workout or maybe like the penultimate exercise, not the final one, for this reason. The other side of it is, and this is frankly, we used to finish quite a lot on the leg press, and occasionally we didn't. I'm trying to remember now. But a lot of the time we did, and now I'm thinking that might not have been the best idea. And the idea was that it's served as like a finisher, right? And in my own personal workouts, I'll always have it towards the end. But now after this, and that's partly out of dread, right? None of us want to train our legs really hard. It's really hard. It's really difficult. It's uncomfortable. So my own workouts I've always had at the end. But actually, I might even start experimenting myself with having it more at the start. Anyway, so, and the other thing as well is in terms of my own workouts, and maybe others can relate to this, although again, I don't think there's research to support this. Most of us men care about bigger chests and bigger arms, right? And so for that reason, we're like, no, we want all that energy, motivation, everything to be like maximized for those first 3 exercises. And those first 3 exercises therefore have to be chin-ups, chest press, bicep curls. And it's like, well, actually, and I remember Luke saying this, they perform thousands of workouts to discover strength, where I believe they've started a lot of the time with, lower body or leg press early on, and they don't see a degradation in performance in those upper body exercises at the end, so that's interesting. And I think there are some exceptions to that, but overall, I don't think there's a huge sort of knock-on effect. So anyway, that's just my 2 cents and some thoughts I had about positioning the leg press. So what have you got any thoughts on that? Like any your 2 cents on what I just said? I know I just went off on one there for a bit.
Not much. There's much to be said about this. So first of all, I don't think Arthur Jones knew this, and this is not why he did it, but this is a very marketable approach working in this order. And that's not what he was after. And then and to your point of the guys want bigger arms and chests, I don't think you're going to get a whole lot bigger than Casey Viator. His arms are pretty darn impressive, but he got his squats out of the way first and then did the bicep and the chin-up superset, at the end. So it worked for big arms and big chest. That's another point. But let me address my favorite subject, which is money. I wanted to be successful at this, financially successful at this. This is a marketable approach. None of my clients, whether they were out of shape and didn't want to exercise but knew they had to, or if they were pretty athletic and needed a good push, neither one of those clients wanted to walk out of the gym after a leg press, and put them in that grout. We had to get through that in the beginning and get past it, and then work on things and leave them. Like very often, my last exercise was neck, which is not difficult and it feels great. And I do a stretch at the end. Oh, Pete, that's wonderful. Thank you so much. And that's how they're leaving the session. Which,
I love that. Can you elaborate on that stretch? And while you do, I'm just going to turn the heater off in this room, but just elaborate on what you mean by the stretch.
So you're doing a neck extension on the med machine. You have a nice set of handles. And you're just doing neck extension. On the last rep, I'd have them go to step the weight down, so the head would come forward, the stack would barely touch, and I would put my hands on their shoulders, and I'd say, just take a deep breath in through the nose, out through the mouth, and on your exhale, I'm going to push on your shoulders a little bit, and that would make the head just kind of push back or the shoulders push back, and your head would stretch down a little bit, and you get this little bit of a neck stretch. It's not much. It's not designed to be strenuous in any way. And clients absolutely loved it. And I'd make them take one more deep cleansing breath, and then I would back off and release and ask them to exit the machine. And oh my God, Pete, that was wonderful. I really needed that. Because remember, they're clients, and clients, most all of them carry their stress up in their neck. They're in front of their computer, they're having meetings, they're whatever they're doing, but they're stressing themselves. And that's where they're developing their headaches.